Stop chasing. This is Marcel, aka Honey Bunny Sunny, and you know I'm on a mission to make you some money. Today we have another episode of Off the Charts, right? For those who are new, welcome. Off the Charts is a series where I talk about some things that you do off the charts that make you a much better trader on the charts. It's all about who we are holistically that dictates our performance on the charts. All right, let's get into it. Today, I'm going to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, which is creativity, music specifically. Now, if you're new, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you make sure that you don't miss another video. I'm gonna just get right into it. I feel like when you're, going through life, you have so many things that tell you to do this, don't do that, do this, don't do that, do this, don't do that, right? And it can create just like a scrambled mind, a confused existence. And it can also prevent a lot of people from doing things that they have the God-given ability to do that they should be doing, right? Capitalism has a way of like perverting pretty much everything under the sun. But I want you guys to understand something. Creativity, you can't lose that. Creativity is something that is such a part of you that no matter what, it needs to be tapped into. We've been convinced that we only need to use one side of our brain, right? The logical side. The creative side and the logical side being used at once is what activates all the different parts of your mind that you have not been using. This is why it's important for entrepreneurs, business owners, 9-to-5ers to have a creative outlet. Now, because we live in a capitalistic society, everybody thinks of something as, well, how can I make this work? How can I make this make me money? Here's the thing. You don't have to make money with your creativity. And that can actually lead to you making money. But even if you don't, it doesn't matter. It's what it does for you that's most important. Creativity awakens the parts of your brain that you haven't been using, the parts that have been lying dormant. Okay, creativity allows you to go into any situation feeling a lot lighter. Creativity is the closest you are going to get to your pure essence, okay? I truly believe that we've come to this planet as co-creators. Our purpose in this life is to create things. Now, imagine how against our nature we've been going by doing things that we don't love, that we're not interested in, and that we think that we should be doing. Should is the most shameful word in the dictionary. Okay, whenever you hear should, there's definitely some shame to follow. Now, love is what we need to connect back to. I'm not saying don't make your money. I'm not saying don't have your hustles. I get it. Listen, I get you got to make money. I trade stocks. I've done a bunch of other things to get myself in a position where I can sustain my life and lean into my creativity. So I get it. But what also created that balance for me was even in times of not having, still being able to sit and create. Because God has given us that, right? The ability to create even when there's nothing, right? That's what creativity is. It's bringing something from nothing. All right. So one of my biggest things has been music. I remember I got my first albums. Well, they weren't even albums back then. They were singles. I had a little CD player with the headphones connected with the wire. And I got 2 singles. It was Deborah Cox and it was Lauryn Hill. And that was the introduction to music for me. And I just remember like how light I felt. I would be singing all throughout the house. I mean, I remember my parents had to tell me to shut up so many times because I just felt so free doing that. So it's no wonder I'm more of an R&B kind of guy. Even though I do like rap, I sing, I like all of that stuff. But when I'm putting something on and just vibing out, it's usually R&B. Matter of fact, let's jump into the collection real quick. All right, so I'm just going to show you guys a little bit of my music collection because this is something that I use like, every day to just kind of keep me in a really zen space. And then I'm going to go into like how I've been implementing creativity and how it's made me a better entrepreneur. Got to kick it off with the late great D'Angelo Voodoo album, right? This album is an absolute masterpiece, right? I heard it took years to actually craft and it comes off in the sound. The nuances of all the live instruments in the background, the bass, the piano, like his voice, how intentional he was about everything, man. You throw this on and you just go into a trance. Rest in peace, D'Angelo. The great Miles Davis, Man, I throw this on when I'm doing some sort of studying. Like if there's a lot of information that I got to take in, I'm not one that can just sit in absolute silence, right? Unless I'm meditating. But if I'm studying, listening to some smooth jazz like this, it really helps me absorb the information, right? If you're not into jazz, man, you gotta tap into it. It is something that is incredible, right? It's boundless. It's no rules to it. It's just pure feels. 2 Chainz. Look, this is a sleeper right here. Okay, this is a sleeper right here. One of my favorite songs on this album is 55 Times. Anybody that knows. If you know, you know, right? 2 Chainz, man, I think is one of the most underrated rappers in the game. He has the ability to like blend like serious dialogue with humor in a way that I've never seen anybody do it before. Very intelligent, barred up, all of that good stuff. This album is always in rotation. I think this came out in like 2021, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's like 2021 or something like that. Still gets bumped. Remember I told y'all Lauryn Hill was my first album? It was the single that I had, but this is the album. She only had to make one. I know she got the unplugged album and stuff like that, but studio album, she only had to make one. She said everything on this album. It's self-explanatory. If you have not listened to this, I don't know where you've been. Everybody knows that, if you know me, you know that I mess with Ye, right? The wordplay, the creativity going from producer, songwriter to rapper and changing lanes is something that's right up my alley. But this particular album holds a special place in my heart. It's a long story, but let's just say when I was in college, I was in my feelings. You know what I mean? You see that heartbreak right there? Sade, favorite artist of all time. Sade, I got introduced to this by my mom just playing this in the house. There's a safety, feeling around this, right? She would play this and Anita Baker when we were getting ready to go on a trip or something like that. She'd be, under the bed vacuuming and stuff like this with this playing, and it just always felt safe and at home. She is also a Capricorn like me, so there's the connection and love for music right there. But Sade is a very mysterious, unique individual, and if she were to go on tour right now, I'm pretty sure she would sell out any stadium because people are waiting for her music. So Sade, if you're watching this, we want you to go on tour, right? You can still do it. I don't know what you might be dealing with, but please give us one more tour before you call it quits. All right, we need your sound. The world needs your love. All right, last but not least, we got Kid Cudi Intergalactic. As you can see, it's still in the plastic, right? This one meant a lot, right? This one meant a lot because it's the soundtrack of a movie that he did. So it's a couple things. I like the fact that he went out and ventured out into something totally different. I feel like all creatives are like that. If you're creative, you're not just creative in one space. You've been told that. If you're creative, you can usually do things in multiple spaces. You see things in a certain way. It's just how your brain operates, right? We all have that. We just got to tap into it. This movie was phenomenal. I watched it at least 10 times, right? The soundtrack matched up perfectly with the scenes and what was going on. It was a beautiful story told, and who knew that you could be so connected to an animated series, right? Or animated movie, right? If you haven't seen Intergalactic, go check it out. Another crazy thing about Kid Cudi, right? I put this down, is he came into my life at a moment when I was at a crossroads about whether or not I should actually pursue creativity, right? I'm in Encino, right? I'm walking down the street, right? I used to live in Encino, so I'm just taking a walk, kind of getting some air. And I was like, you know what? I'm about to go get something to eat. Cause like, I was like, kind of like writing this song. And then I had this, this song in my head. And then I went, down the street, and I'm like, kind of like, how you be a little like confused about which place you want to go to. You like a little indecisive, I should say. Like, do I want pizza? Do I want to go salad? I know salad and pizza is like two different worlds, but it'd be like that sometimes, right? So I was like, I'm gonna get some pizza, right? So there was this spot called Mulberry Street Pizza, which was like right down the street from my house, and I was like, let me just go in there, right? And I had also earlier that day asked for a sign, right? Like, what am I doing? Because it's, and I'll get into this later, but I was just like, I'm sitting here so interested in music. Though I got a business degree, I got finance experience, I worked in consulting. I've done all these things in the professional realm. I started a watch company that's made over $1 million. You know what I mean? Like, I've done all these different things, but now I'm like, man, music has just been calling me, right? So I go into Mulberry Street Pizza, I order the cheese, and then guess who comes walking into Mulberry Street Pizza? Kid Cudi. And not only did Kid Cudi come in, but it's almost like he was an angel sent to remind me to keep going. We talked about everything. We talked about his accident. You know, he was on crutches at the time. We talked about, music, what I was working on, what he was working on, and he actually like took the time to to sit. You know what I mean? Like I forever will have respect just for somebody who was not super Hollywood and is a very grounded individual. So anything that anybody ever may say, I'm like, in my experience with this person, they were the most humble, creative, heart-centered that I've come across. All right. So yeah, this was a real meaningful day. So you might be asking yourself, Marcel, what does all of this have to do with trading? Again, this is off the charts, right? Who you are off the charts helps you become a better trader, entrepreneur, 9 to 5, or whatever. My thing is music, right? I was not allowing myself to express myself in this way because I was so consumed with how the world viewed me or who I said I was up until this particular point in time, right? Almost always having to fit into a box that maybe I created, but probably blamed other people for creating, but it was probably in my head, right? I know there's a lot of people out there that feel like this, especially in this time. I know if you're still watching to this moment right now, it's a reason. You got something that you really want to do, not just want to do, not just pays the bills, but you have some things that you really want to do. I'm going to run down what music has done for me, right? Ever since I've been like, you know what? Yes to music. Yes to creativity. Yes to expressing myself. It's made me a better communicator. It's made me a more loving person. It's made me more compassionate, lighter, right? More self-reflective, more honest, right? All the things that just make you a better person overall. And I bring that person to the charts, right? I bring that person to the charts, which I believe is why I get the results that I get, right? Listen, like I said, my first introduction to music was those singles at Deborah Cox, that How Did You Get Here, the Lauryn Hill Miseducation, right? That I played that so many times. And like I said, I remember that feeling. My whole life went by and I didn't experience that feeling in anything that I did. And I'm like, why is that? Right? Your heart needs to be in what you're doing. Right? And it doesn't mean that your heart doesn't belong to one place. Like, we are love. But you have to lean into something that you had an early memory of love on, right? Or something that you may not have even discovered yet, right? This is why trying and expressing yourself and dabbling in the things that you're being drawn to is important. A lot of time that love is living in a place that you haven't been yet. Whenever you walk past somewhere or you see somebody posting something and for some reason it continues to draw you in, there's love that's living there. There's something that you're supposed to be doing that's connected to that. So rewind, I'm working in consulting, and I remember I used to be coming home, sitting in traffic, pissed off because I'm sitting in traffic, suited up, and just fighting the world every day, working in a business that really didn't, care whether I was there or not, right? They just wanted my work output. And I would be in traffic and I would detox all of that energy by freestyling about what I was dealing with. And I found that it was actually more therapeutic than therapy, right? It was the only place where I was completely alone. I was able to be completely honest and get everything out judgment free. The little Lexus that I was driving at the time, right, became a studio. It was a booth. You couldn't tell me I wasn't Jay-Z, right? And we all need that metaphoric booth, right? We all need that space where we just start something. We start to, express ourselves in that way, right? Pick up that pen, right? Pick up that instrument, pick back up that pen, pick back up that instrument, because a lot of people, like I said, just at some point they fizzle out. Creativity does not have an age. Let me say this again. Creativity does not have an age. One more time, because you're still shaky about it. Your creativity does not have an age, and it is an innate part of your existence. And once you start to activate that and allow yourself, you are going to find yourself walking into rooms way different. There's going to be something that takes place in your life that you're not even going to be able to explain to people. You're just going to have to go through it. But it's going to be a truth. You're going to understand what you were really here for, what you were made to do. And you'll be able to go and enter other spaces and understand them for what they're for. You understand, like, oh, I'm just over here making money. Cool. Right? I understand that this is in alignment because it is helping me do more of what I love. That's what life is about. We play these different games. We are in these different realms. We're in different parts of the matrix, but we always are trying to get back to ourselves. I don't care how much money or how little money you have. Everyone wants to feel connected. Everyone wants to feel grounded and that they're being their authentic self. Now, the energy of the world is forcing that now. Right? It's forcing that now. It's forcing a lot of people to look into the mirror and see what they really want to do. The jig on a lot of these games are up. And I don't want you to get like left behind. And I'm not talking about compared to other people. I'm talking about you in this mindset of I have to do this. I should do this, right? Start doing things that you love and watch the doors of your life open up. Start putting yourself out there and watch you start attracting the tribe that you didn't know existed. When you were thinking that you were alone in this, there's probably some people watching this right now that's like, damn, I'm not alone. He's sitting here talking about exactly what's on my mind and on my heart. Yeah, I'm one of them. I'm just like you. I've had my own personal struggles with like, should I share this? Should I say this? And the moment that you get past that, the world opens up for you. Okay? Creativity is life. Creativity is going to let your light shine so bright in anything that you decide to do. Once you are operating from this freedom, it's going to turn to gold. It's going to work out for you. All right. I hope this video was helpful. I would love to hear your feedback and what you're working on. Drop those in the comments. Also, if you're looking for a trading home, you want some people that you can make money with, grow with creatively, spiritually, from a wellness perspective, right? We got it all in the Prosperity Collective. The link is in every description of all my videos. Look, I love you guys. I want the best for you. Activate that creativity now. Go pick that pen up. Go pick that, whatever it is, up that instrument, that violin, that piano, whatever it is, go do it. All right? Remember, invest smart, live free. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.